Welcome, everybody, to episode 4 with Sakura Pop, where your inner musings of K dramas come to life. I'm joined with my co host, Bonnie. Welcome again, Bonnie.
Hi, thank you. It's nice to be on this podcast again. Thanks for having me.
And I am very happy to have you here again. We have an exciting episode for you guys today. Since we are in a brand new year, 2021 now, there's no better time than to recap some favorite K dramas from 2020. There is a bright spot to be found even amongst the social restrictions and anxiety of 2020. And personally, I made up for it by socializing with my TV in the absence of other people and allowing my favorite characters to help me vent my pent up anxiety. So I feel like K dramas was a big healing balm to my perspective of the world troubles.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice escape from everything happening.
And to that end, I am proud to announce Sakura Pop's first annual Sakura Awards. Bonnie and I have each chosen our top pick, so that will be a winner plus a runner up. And we also picked upcoming shows that we would like to keep our eyes on for 2021. So, without further ado, Bonnie, can I ask how long did it take for you to decide on a winner and a runner up? Was it a very difficult thing that you kind of struggled through and had sleepless nights of, or instantly did you know like exactly which were your best shows?
I think for me, the top one definitely was super easy. I had no doubt and I knew right away. Runner up, I had to really go through the list and see what I watched and what there was to choose from. And I was able to come to one. It wasn't something that I had to debate too long about, but then again, I did not watch every single show that was released in 2020. So who knows? There might be a better one out there.
And we both spend our time mostly on Netflix in terms of like our source for K dramas. The Netflix has been releasing like different shows depending on popularity. So they also release a lot of old shows at the time when the new stuff comes out. So I think for our new fans of K-dramas, you have a to-do list that is going to just keep continuing to grow longer and longer because you'll find that Netflix's recommendations of old shows to be quite accurate to what a person normally watches based on the watch history. And then in the meantime, there's on the top 10, you start to see, flashes of these like amazing new popular exciting K-dramas that are coming out and you add that to your list. So it's never ending. It's great to dig into the past and look forward to the future and stay entertained all the way throughout.
And that's what Netflix wants from you as well.
That's right. And my money.
Exactly.
My $15 a month. You can have it, Netflix. Take it. Take my money.
It's definitely worth it.
All right, let's start with our podcast award show. My topic, we'll start with our, would you like to start with our winners or the runner up?
I don't know. What do you think would make more sense?
I like to start off with a bang, the winner. It was the easiest for me to decide. I had to think a little bit for the runner up. Yeah. But to me, like the winner for year 2020 is absolutely no debate. I chose Hospital Playlist
Oh, interesting. It's one I haven't watched actually.
because you don't want to.
That's
Because it's
true,
about
but that's for
hospitals
other
and
reasons.
yes,
Yeah.
it's too close to your line of profession.
So
Yes.
personal reasons I didn't watch it, but it does look interesting. So tell me more about it and why you thought it was the top pick.
The summary is that five friends whose friendship goes back to their days in med school are brought back together when a phone call interrupts each of their busy lives. This is an immensely charming slice of life with a lot of heart and well-placed humor at every single turn. Yeah, so they all end up as coworkers at the same hospital, and they're just amazing, good, lovely people. The focus on the show is about these doctors caring for people and their relationship with their patients and how they get through a very super busy day as doctors, and then there's a huge friendship component, like how they support each other and lean on each other, so they can, get through the tough spots of the day. A really wonderful and positive message that this drama delivers is the fact that life doesn't stop being good once you've hit your 30s. These five doctors are in their late 30s, going on into their 40s, and yet they have the most thriving and fulfilling and happy lifestyles. They are extraordinarily busy people, but they make time for all the important relationships and the people that they love.
Yeah, that sounds really nice and heartwarming. And I like the fact that it doesn't focus on romance too much. When I saw the trailer for it, I thought it would be something like Reply, because there's like one female and then four males. And it's like, oh, is she going to try to have a relationship with all of them? And you have to guess which one she ends up with. And, I think that's something that's been played too many times already. So I'm glad to hear that it is a little different.
Yeah, that's what I expected too. I mean, one female, four guys. They've been friends forever. At some point, you figured there'd be a spark. These five friends remain single for most of the series. So the show is loudly proclaiming that not only is it not the end of life when you've hit your 30s, you can find fulfillment and happiness as long as you make the personal decision to stay in touch with your hobbies, your friends and family, and not to be afraid to reach out to people who you can rely on. Now that I've gushed immensely over hospital playlists because I love the cast so much, and it's got a special place in my heart. Now it's your turn.
All right. So for me, my number one for 2020, it actually started playing December 2019, but I checked and it did finish airing in 2020. So it still passes, I think, is Crash Landing on You. So
I knew
that
it.
was
Sorry.
definitely my number one. And, if I think back to all the K dramas that I've ever watched, it's probably one of my top three or even like
Wow.
top one. So it's really near and dear to my heart. It's something that I really enjoyed. Not only is the storyline really different, the fact that, it talks about both North and South Korea, the fact that the main character, it's the female who is the richer one compared to the male who's always portrayed as the richer one for some reason. I like that about it. So it's a little different. The fact that it always kept me on my toes. So usually compared to the normal K dramas where the plot kind of plummets in the second half, I felt like it continued to capture my interest throughout the whole show. I mean, the ending, I'm never happy with endings, and I thought the ending was meh, like the last episode. However, the rest of it was really good, that I felt like it was a um, pretty top-notch drama. The cast, of course, we're not gonna, complain about. The cast is very, very star-studded. Very veteran actor and actress couple, and then even to the production of it, it's filmed in three different countries. So it was in Korea, Mongolia, and Switzerland, I believe. So very nice sceneries and very different type of setting compared to your usual K dramas. And I think the commonality between the two of our dramas is that it does show a more mature cast. So they're not like in their 20s and young, compared to something like Record of Youth and Startup. It's definitely people who are older and more established. And maybe that's more relatable for us now that we're a little older. Maybe we're not as old as them, but still, I think I'm over the days where I enjoy watching like high school dramas and stuff.
Oh yeah, I was way over that quite a long time ago. And there's more too. It's not just enjoying watching a more mature cast.
Yeah,
It's enjoying seeing people who are not caught up in some sort of a from rags to riches type of story,
right.
which is like a stereotypical trope that's repeated over and over in
Mm-hmm.
K-dramas. And I used to be so into that, but it had like zero realism in it. And now I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I want a little bit more realism, but still with some tropes mixed in. I mean, a South Korean woman just like paragliding accidentally into North Korea. Okay, it's not very
Not
realistic.
very realistic.
But it is very imaginative, and the people are
Mm-hmm.
portrayed to be like realistic people with their nuances, their motivations, and believable conflict. And that's what I really like is the believable conflict.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And like who knows? Like we don't know anything about North Korea and whether it is a believable conflict or not per se, but like just like the personalities, the characteristics and how they handled it, I think that was very like realistic, and the depth of character of each of the characters, they're not just one dimensional, whether it's the good guys or the bad guys, you saw a lot of sides of them. And
I like how they
and
change
then
their minds throughout it.
yeah,
It speaks to
exactly.
character development. They don't stay static. Is their minds about culture, like another country's
Hmm.
culture, starts to shift and they start to care for each other in a way where they didn't start off like that. And that's like the whole
Yes,
group, not just the main couple. It's our
exactly.
main character's army friends too.
Exactly. And even like I really enjoyed her friendship with the Ajumas that she became like really good friends with, to the point where she named her products after them, and that was all just very touching. Like I know it's a romance, most of it is a love story. However, there's so much about family and friendship, and it made the story
More
more
layered.
interesting. Yeah, layered, yeah.
Yeah. Because it's not just about, getting that boy or getting that girl. Nobody's life is like that. There are all sorts
Right.
of other people who are in your network and who surround you and either give you a lot of support or inflict a lot of grief that you have to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. Um,
I had a feeling you might pick Crash Landing on
yeah.
You
Why?
because it fits that bill of escapism for
Yep.
you. And yet it's also an extraordinarily well produced show
Mm-hmm.
with great writing, even better
Mm-hmm.
acting, and has a lot more to it than when First Meets the Eye. Because First Meets the Eye, you're like, okay, guy falls in love with
Mm-hmm.
woman, guy protects women, guy gets jealous of women. Something like
Right.
that, right? But it's certainly with all the different characters, the Ajumas, the the second male lead and the
Oh, yes.
second female lead, and of course the bromance
Oh, yes.
relationship.
So good.
Yes, all of that it's pure gold.
It is pure gold. And, to be honest, when I saw the trailer for this one, I was like, I don't know if I want to watch it, because that's not my usual, like, I like modern day fancy, like, not in fancy, but like modern day living in a metropolis kind of setting type of show. I don't really like I thought it was like older because, the trailer was mostly in North Korea where they were in like more of a village and, he was in military uniform. So I thought this was like in wartime and I didn't really like that setting usually. I don't like wartime movies and TV shows because I feel they're too depressing. But I am so glad I watched it.
Yeah, I imagine maybe your first impression might have been like, oh, it's about a bunch of country bumpkins in the countryside
Yeah,
making campfires.
exactly. So it was very different.
Well, I am glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed it too, but not as much as Hospital Playlist.
Yeah, and you can actually say that because you actually watched two, so I can't really compare the two.
Newsflash, if you don't already know already, it's basically blowing up the K-drama news
Mm-hmm.
world. The two are dating.
Yeah, I saw that, but I wasn't sure if it's confirmed or is it still a rumor?
They just came out with this press release like maybe a few days ago. Wow, what a power couple!
That is definitely a power couple.
I wouldn't say it catches people by surprise. Maybe belatedly catches people by surprise. We all, in a way, wanted it to happen and kind of expected it to happen, but they kept denying dating rumors. It was because they weren't dating. You know, I think these actors, they are so veteran that they know that it's easy to get caught up in the emotions of the characters that you're portraying. So then you feel your feelings of affection gets mixed up in the acting. And I feel like they understand that because they're veterans. So they took a cool down period and, they didn't date or anything. They just needed like their own personal space to work out their feelings or to start participating in other projects, etc. So being away from the opposite person. And during that cooling down period, they realized that they missed each other a lot and decided, okay, these feelings are real. Let's date. Something else I also discovered because I was looking for Son Ye Jin's makeup tutorial. I really love like the natural beauty that seemed to like shine and on in the drama. And I thought, oh, okay, how does she do it? Because that's a look that I want to emulate. And her makeup artist on this YouTube video that I watched revealed that they didn't do much makeup on her, especially when she's in North Korea. They hardly put anything on her, not even mascara. So like no eyeliner or anything like that. Yeah, I mean that's her like almost barefaced.
She's just naturally beautiful. I think she was probably awarded the most beautiful actress in Korea at one point or something like that. And I've watched her in a few, and she definitely looks the best in this one, in this show. And also, I liked her character and personality the most in the show too. So I think that helps. I think she's known as a melodrama queen, and in the other show, she was always so like sad and like mopey. But this one, she actually had more of a flair in terms of her personality, and I like that about her character.
Hmm. Well, now that we've finished gushing about Son Ye Jin and Crash Landing on You, let's pick our runner up. I'll go first. And for my runner up, I had trouble deciding between two titles. Kingdom. Do you know Kingdom?
I've heard of it, but again, not my kind of genre.
Yeah. So I was trying to decide between Kingdom and Strangers from Hell.
Okay, same genre.
Yeah. But Strangers from Hell is more psychological thriller, psychological horror. And Kingdom is definitely just like a blockbuster thrill ride. Something that you watch because you love watching Jurassic Park type of show. Yeah, all action. There's very little talking. Lots of zombies, lots of running, lots of chopping things into pieces. It's fun. It was a very fun romp. But I picked Strangers from Hell over Kingdom because Strangers from Hell is more than just a fun romp. It's more than just killing and smashing and action. There's just more. There's more thinking and analysis and wondering and more mystery. And that's what I love. I think what that makes a good drama is if you're willing to go back and check out certain scenes because you thought you picked up something, but you're not quite sure. And there aren't very many horror-ish type flicks where I am both laughing and kind of petrified at what's going on, which is quite the paradox. But it makes Strangers from Hell the runner up for me. If our listeners would like to hear me more, hear me talking more about Strangers from Hell, then please check out episode 1, where I do go into deeper lengths about it. Now on to you, Bonnie, your runner up.
My runner-up is something that you didn't like. So it's very interesting that we have very different tastes. And that's good because it brings, different type of perspectives into this podcast. So for me, my runner-up would have to be Hi Bye Mama. So very, very different genre compared to your thrillers that you mentioned. It's more of drama slash comedy type show. What I liked about it was I feel like it was very interesting. Again, the concept is very different. It talks about someone who was given a second chance, and it also talks about what happens after death. And that is a very interesting topic for me. I think they went through a lot in terms of talking about, if someone dies, then it's more than something that affects them, how it affects everyone around them and how they have to cope with it. And that's something very interesting that, we don't usually get to see in a lot of shows. Like they don't focus on it as much, at least. The cast was very, very good. Again, I was very happy with it. It is Kim Tae-hee's first drama back. Like it was her kind of comeback show, I believe, after she.
Oh, that's Kim Tae-hee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So
No
Rain's
wonder.
wife.
Yeah. I thought she looked familiar, but I didn't put two and two together.
Again, she was
Ah.
one of the most like beautiful women in Korea at some point. Then she got married, she had a kid, and then she was kind of off stage for a while. And then this is her first drama back on the K drama scene. So that was really interesting. I never watched her before, so it's not like I watched it just because of her, but I found that out afterwards that, it was a big deal for her. Her husband in the show was really, really good and really believable. The second female lead was also very believable. Like at first, I really didn't like her, but by the end, I really, empathized with her. They also have a child actor who was very cute. And interestingly enough, it was a girl who the actor portrayed, but it's actually a boy who played it. So they found a boy. Yeah. So they casted him just because he looked so much like her, like the mom. And then they're like, oh my gosh, they look exactly the same. We need to cast him, even though he's like a boy. And there was a lot of um, backlash from the community saying like, oh, you shouldn't do that. People having problems with them playing a different gender, but lots of controversy. I thought it was a nice, an art form, and that's what happened before in Shakespearean time as well, right? So it's not as big of a deal, I think. But maybe in a conservative society, it's more of a problem. Yep, so those are the little tidbits from it. It was a very easy story to kind of watch. Lots of crying, lots of laughing, lots about not only family and love, but friendship as well. So, again, a very well rounded show.
I started with the first few episodes, but I remember telling you that I couldn't get into it. Now,
Hmm.
by not getting into it, I mean that I did not cry enough. There were not enough like tear-jerking moments in order to make me feel invested in the family.
Mm.
Yeah, it felt like I couldn't put myself anywhere near the shoes of the wife with Kim Tae. Yeah, so that's why I couldn't stick around for the rest. But I mean, it's your pick. It's your runner-up, so I'm sure there are people who agree with you. And I'm sure there are also people who agree with me and love of some gore. A little bit of blood and gore doesn't help, doesn't hurt.
To each their own.
Yep, yeah. If you enjoyed, if you enjoyed Hi Bye Mama, then you might like Kiyok. Its English name is Memory. It's really good. I think it certainly deserves a lot of props. The title's called Memory because it's about a very prominent lawyer who's losing his memory due to Alzheimer's. And he's got family, but he doesn't have just one family, he has two families. He has an ex-wife who he's separated from, and then there's a backstory to that too. And it's all sad because it's melodrama, and with his new family, he's got tensions because the the underlying tension is that he had a child with his first wife, but his child got killed in a car accident. And yeah, and with his new family, it's like, work kind of overtakes a lot of things, and he's always kind of thinking about and reviewing the case and trying to solve uh, the mystery of who the killer is. It was a hit and run. So like they never caught the person. And in Korea, back in the day, back before they changed the law, there's a statute of limitations, which means that even serious crimes has no repercussions after a certain number of years has passed, even if the killer is caught, even if it's like first degree murder or something like that. After you pass, like, I think it's 15 years before they changed the law, 15 years, you can totally murder somebody in cold blood. And if 15 years has passed and you've not been charged, then you are forever free and the case cannot be appealed. I don't think I've ever cried in a K drama as hard as I cried in that one. Yeah, because nobody knows about his Alzheimer's. It's slowly revealed. Even he didn't know at first. He just had trouble remembering things, and it's with Alzheimer's, it's that slow slide, right? Usually, it's like a slow descent in the loss of memory and being able to like recall events in detail. You ever find it, then, give the first, I would say, 3 episodes a shot, and then you'll know whether you can keep going because you love it and you want to keep supporting and rooting for the characters, or you drop it because it's very sad. And yeah, some in some scenes I found it was almost unbearably sad.
Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't be able to watch it because it doesn't really fit my bill of escapism if it's so depressing. If I'm trying to get away.
But you've seen Hi Bye Mama.
But that to me is a comedy. It's like part comedy, right? There's comedic relief in it. I can't watch purely dramatic things. That's why I didn't watch It's Okay Not to Be Okay because it looked like the whole thing was going to be sad, and that is not going to bode well for my, getting away from the craziness of this world.
This time, I will let you take the baton, Bonnie,
All right.
and you can announce which titles that you're looking forward to most in 2021.
So, in terms of what I thought I would be interested in, the number one thing that caught my attention was Younger. It's a rom com, totally in my kind of my cup of tea. And it's interesting because it talks about the main character being mistaken for 20 years younger. She's actually a single mother and she wants to reboot her career. It reminds me very much of Second 20s. I don't know if you've watched that.
I've heard of it.
You've heard of it. So that one also talks about a single mother who tries to go back into the workforce. And I really liked it. I really like shows where people are trying to make something out of their life when they didn't really have a good past and they're working towards that goal. So like something like Startup, where they're kind of not handed something but they need to work towards it makes it a very enticing show for me. So I found that was interesting. The other thing that caught my attention was So Not Worth It. That one is a comedy and it's a sitcom, actually, which I don't think is as common in K drama to have like a sitcom. And I felt that was interesting for that genre. And also the fact that it talks about students living in a university dorm. I think we were talking about more mature casts, but I think maybe not high school, but even university life is quite interesting to me still. So I think that would be something I would want to watch because again, if I have to compare it to something like Hello My 20s, it was talking about a group of friends who lived together in university. So I feel like maybe
Oh, that was
it's,
fun.
yeah, that was a really, really good show for me. So I think maybe this one would be like that. And it's also multicultural. So that's interesting too. So yeah, I think those are my two picks. If I had to just add one more little tidbit when I was going down the list, there was the one where I was like, interesting. Why is this here? Is Love Alarm season 2. Have you seen the first season?
Oh, it seemed a little bit campy for me.
It was
And it
very
revolves around the high school life, right? And we've
exactly.
established that we are way past the time when we
Exactly.
still, feel for
High
things
school life.
happening to other people in high school. Yeah.
Yeah, so I did watch the first one at some point when I was bored and I had nothing else better to do. And it was such a bad show. Like, I don't even remember what it was about. It's so unremarkable that I felt like, what? Okay, there was no plot. So I'm really surprised given it's very rare for K dramas to have more than one season. Why they decided to give a second season to a show which was not even good. So that was just my last comment. I
We
guess
didn't think it was good, but I suppose there's a greater world of fans out there who have their own opinions.
high school students? Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe. That's true. Maybe there are other people who like
Yeah.
it.
Yep, there must be.
There must be.
And it's not just the audience in, Canada or
International.
the Western world,
Yeah.
right? They also count viewership ratings from Korea, which is traditionally like the biggest source of income for the K dramas to start with.
Fair.
Is do our Korean viewers like it? And then they kind of go off from there.
My understanding is in
Yes.
Korea, the majority of audience members are actually like older women, like housewives. Is that right? So does that mean housewives like this show? I'm just curious now to see what the audience for this show is.
I don't know. But yeah, for anybody who's interested, Love Alarm 2 is coming up in 2021.
Yay. All right. Enough about that. How about you? What were your top picks for 2021?
Sequels are getting bigger and bigger in the K-drama world. I think we'll see more and more sequels.
Oh, yeah?
There are two that I'm already looking forward to, and
Mm-hmm.
there are already titles that I've mentioned. Hospital Playlist 2.
Oh,
I'm looking forward to Kingdom. I don't know if Kingdom 2 is going to be out by 2020, but certainly there is going to be a subplot that they are featuring, and it's like movie length. It's 70 minutes, 70 minutes. So there's only one episode, and they call it Kingdom Ashen of the North. It's going to talk about a backstory to a surprise character who seems like more than just a cameo. Yep, Jin Ji Hyun. We know her, we love her from He Who Came from the Stars. Yay! And then, of course, if Kingdom 2 shows up, I'm definitely gonna watch it. It's only 6 episodes long
oh,
in Kingdom.
wow.
Yeah.
That's unusual.
They truly made it like a mini series.
Okay.
So each episode is like perfectly choreographed. Um, a lot of investment have been put into like cinematography, into the action, into post production, and mayhem. So much mayhem. So many extras. Yeah, it's like a feature film production every single episode. It's
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
I guess you need a lot of
Yeah.
extras for the zombies.
Oh yeah. And a lot of makeup. Like this is what's great about Netflix. I feel like we're promoting them so much that they should sponsor me. If you're listening, Netflix producers,
We're looking for sponsors.
sponsor me. But yeah, I'm so happy that Netflix is picking up on all of these K dramas and
Mm-hmm.
expanding the repertoire because Netflix, especially when they start getting involved in the production, you know that you're gonna get to a certain quality out of Netflix because they're giants. They have a really strict like quality control standard. And I heard, from an industry insider that basically like there's this Netflix producer who hovers over the production and nitpicks about stuff. And under contractual obligations, the you know the film production has to make do and make good of Netflix's wishes to make changes at their request. Yeah, it's interesting
Interesting.
because and I mean the reason why like I imagine Netflix has this kind of power over how a production is made, it's because they are throwing in so much money into it.
Mm-hmm.
They're like a major investor, right?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's great. Keep it up. I'm giving my money to Netflix. Netflix is giving me something in return.
There you go. Free market.
I also am intrigued by a show that also is very short, 6 episodes, and it's called DP Dog Day. It's a military drama, and Jung Hae In is in it. Jung Hae In. Do you recognize that name, Bonnie?
No. I usually don't know their
He
names.
is if you see his face, then you would definitely like remember him.
Okay.
So he is in. I only remember the Korean translated title, Nuna Who Buys Me Food.
Oh,
What's the
okay.
Netflix
Yes.
title for that? I forget.
Sing, singing in the rain? No.
Yes,
Singing
something
the
in the rain.
something in the
Yes.
rain. Something in the rain. Yes.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
Okay, I know him.
Yep. So that's our baby face, Jung Hae-in. Very popular ever since he played supporting cast in 2017 to a wonderful K-drama called While You Were Sleeping. And his stardom just like shot up after that because a lot of people had second lead syndrome watching that show.
Mm.
And this would be also the second time that Jung Hae-in has played a military personnel. The first time he played this kind of, this a military person is Prison Playbook. Highly recommended. It's on my top 10 favorites, Prison Playbook. So it looks like he's been recast into a similar setting with DP Dog Day. And the premise is tasked with hunting down a group of military deserters. An Jun-ho bears witness to the struggles of the young men who are trying to escape. This is a webtoon adaptation and it's a military drama that is expected to hit subscribers with an emotional punch and impact. Sounds explosive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Webtoon adaptations are
Have you watched them
they're
before?
they're intriguing, that's for sure. Yeah, so Korea makes a lot of webtoons. It's like their version of manga.
Okay.
And they're just, short little comic strips, but they are long running comic strips. And there are quite a lot of webtoons that's been adapted very successfully into K dramas. Yeah,
Okay.
so I mean, the webtoon only gets adapted because its source material was very
Really
well
good.
liked and very popular. Yeah, so in the K dramas, if they do well, then they'll emulate and expand the fandom even more.
Can you think of an example of a previous drama that was based on a webtoon?
Misang.
Okay.
Yeah,
Inter- that was
one of my
really
top
popular.
10. Huh?
There you go. I haven't seen it yet, but you did recommend it to me.
Yep. Yeah. I've seen it twice now.
Wow.
Two and a half times. I didn't finish my third rewatch. So 2.5 times I've watched Misang. That's how much I loved it. Yes. So there we are, folks. We've picked our winners of the Sakura Awards, our first annual celebration of this award on our podcast. And the award goes to Crash Landing on You and Hospital Playlist. Hooray!
Yay!
Congratulations. We are ready to let our listeners go and let them get back to watching more K dramas. Thank you so much for being on my show again, Bonnie.
No problem. It was fun as usual.
Be sure to subscribe, like, favorite, leave me a review. And thank you, listeners.
Thank you.
You've been with Sakura Pop. I will see you next time. Bye now. Happy New
Happy New Year.
Year.